Thanks for joining me. This is Fabienne, and I am joined by Hanna Hermanson, who is here to share her story, her journey on the way to $1 million in her business with a delicious life. Hanna, so good to have you here. We connected about 1.5 years ago, and that's when you began your journey of leverage. Would you be willing to share with us what it was like? Give us the rundown of what it was like 1.5 years ago to be you in your business.
Yeah, my husband and I had just made the big leap to our dream location in Merida, Mexico. So he had been a school teacher and I had done business coaching, but in that year had pivoted into doing done-for-you copywriting and realized how much more people paid us for like the done-for-you service as opposed to the coaching. So we were here, I was feeling good, there was some of that new fresh momentum, like sexiness around this new offer that I had, but I remember spending days in our pool, like straight off the vision board and being like, okay, so this is good. We did it. It's fine. Do we keep chilling or do we kind of follow that like voice inside of us that's like, there might be more? And then a voice showed up on my podcast. I was hosting Dream Life is Real Life at the time, and you, Fabienne, were a guest, and it was like I was convincing myself at the time that like fine is good. Like be happy with what we have. Like I had already made a lot of progress, independent in our location and freedom for both my husband and I. But the way that you were sharing really conjured up that voice inside of me that was like, you're not here for fine. Earning 6 figures and sitting by the pool every day at 2 p.m., like, there's so much more inside of you.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, someone who doesn't know me really well could be like, it's all about accumulation and it's all about making money. Like, first of all, to all the people who are at 6 figures, like you're in the top 5% of all entrepreneurs in the world. So like give yourself a high five, right? And then there's this curiosity of like, how far can I go?
Totally.
How good can I have it? How many people can I impact? And that's what you're talking about, right?
Totally. Yeah, right? It was sort of like my needs had been fulfilled, right? I had the pool, had the dream house, had the marriage. And I was working with these clients and we were kind of on hamster wheels of like creating copy and delivering that every week. And I was seeing how I could be so much more efficient. And if I got out of the way of being like this, worker horse of doing all of the things, then I could help so many more people. But I was very much in this mindset of like, doing it all myself. My husband was helping some in the business, but I didn't really see how, like what that next level would be. Like, it's fine, we're full, it's 6 figures, we got these things, but I think I was holding myself back because I didn't see how I could expand or how we would create more space for new clients.
And so when you heard that there was another way, and you heard that you probably saw other women getting to 7 figures and they too had a delicious life, but they weren't stuck at 6 figures, it started to awaken something in you. What is it that made you say, you know what, I'm going to try this thing. I'm going to try this recipe, this roadmap that she's talking about.
Yeah. Well, something for me as a doer, like achiever is in my top 5 strengths finder. I was nervous about taking on more work, like I said. So I hadn't seen a model where people were earning 7 figures and actually happy. I had only seen a model where people were earning 7 figures and not really in integrity in their personal life with the kind of life that I wanted to lead. And I had a lot of limiting beliefs around what it would mean to double or triple our income, right? And
let's talk about
what I had to sacrifice.
Yeah, let's talk about those beliefs because, first of all, it's really hard to get into a conversation like this with people who are at multiple 6 and 7 figures, who will actually talk about like the little gremlins that were there before. And so I just want to like, what did come up when you heard, when you thought about, okay, doubling and tripling my income will mean what in those days? What was coming up for you?
I can like feel the weight on my chest still, like putting myself back in those shoes of like, I already do a lot. Like I was the breadwinner in our family, you know, I had already felt like I was doing a lot. And I didn't realize how much I was in my masculine. You know, at the time, I just felt like I was doing it. This is what I got to do. I'm a solopreneur. I said I was going to do this.
Right?
Yeah. This is the only way. You hit the numbers. Like I had learned these scripts and what I now lovingly call, you know, we refer to as bro marketing.
Yeah.
That really had me convinced that it would be hard and I'd have to hustle and I would get hate mail if I showed up more big and old clients would start a revolution against me. Like I had some big, scary, you know, people pleasing that was definitely making me feel like it is not worth, you know, doubling up on what we've got going now. This is fine, but seeing another way.
Right?
Yeah. So I got really excited as someone who was doing it all. I got really excited about this aspect of team. And when I was thinking about us having this conversation, Fabienne, I don't really recognize the solopreneur the way that she was thinking, right? That like there's going to be so much more work and I have to do it all myself and I have to figure it all out. Now having a team, I just approach decision-making differently. I have different beliefs about the business. I have a different schedule as well, but it's been, like this conversation feels like it's a different person a year and a half ago.
You're a totally different person?
Yeah.
So I would love to here's what I'd love. I'd love for you to take us through what it's like now, knowing that you're on your way to $1 million. But a year and a half into the process, what has radically changed? And then what did you do to change it? Like what shifted? So where are you now? What's happening to you?
So we've tripled revenue. And I say we now, and I speak about our team, not just like me and my husband in the pool figuring stuff out. But we've tripled income in a year and a half. And that's a reflection of increasing our prices, increasing the length of our agreement, and keeping our great clients. This is not a result of millions of people finding my Instagram or like this, like shiny object chase. It really was those 3 shifts: increasing prices, lengthening our agreement, and just helping our clients get better results. That's helped us retain and then call in a new set of clients that are just like a treat, and literally a treat to work with.
If I remember correctly, you've also, instead of giving all of yourself away, your time, yourself, you have found a way for your clients to get just as much, if not better results without being so implicated in the client journey. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I mean, thank goodness I have a decent relationship with my ego, because our clients are so much more happy and love our team so much more. Like, it's not just about Hannah, it's about this process and Lindsay and Nikki and these other women on my team who are in their zone of genius and get to show up more fully. I was getting to a point where it was like kind of stretching thin, like kind of keeping up with clients, kind of knowing what was happening in their life. But now that we have systems and team that do all of the client-facing work, our clients feel more supported, and it's not on me at all.
I'm really glad that you share this, because I've met too many women in the past who say, no, you don't understand. If I'm not holding their hand, they won't pay for this. And I say, we need to leverage your intellectual property. We're going to leverage a process. We're going to create a roadmap, kind of like the roadmap that you said intrigued you about this leverage process, where the roadmap is so clear and so, how do you say, just so logical that somebody says, oh, I'll take the roadmap. Oh, and I get Hanna too?
Yeah.
And I get Hannah's team, and you become the leader of a process-driven methodology as opposed to everything rests on your shoulders. And until this business owner gets and hears stories like what you're sharing, until she sees that, she feels like I can't grow my income 3 times because it'll just mean I'm going to be needed 3 times the amount.
Right, exactly.
Now. And I'm already overwhelmed and burnt out.
Yeah, and the roadmap helped me see the opportunity and, trust in a process. But it was the mindset first methodology because I had to change my identity. And I'm in another, outfit change at this next level, right? Going from multiple 6 to 7, I'm at like another, identity shift because I had heard other women in Bold Heart talk about their coaching program or their educational courses. And I was like, okay, I teach coaches how to do that. I understand how you can do that one-to-many, but I'm different. I have a highly personalized service-based business that's prided on crawling up into individual businesses and embodying them and like becoming, as we write copy, becoming all these other people. And so the first few months in Bold Heart, I just came and kept asking the same question, but I'm the only one that writes. Like, people buy my writing. Why would they buy someone else's writing? Like, I had such a block around that. And when I shifted my identity from a copywriter to a CEO, who, by the way, lives like a queen and owns that, like, royalness to my life, that delicious life that you teach, that's when I was able to really leverage the roadmap and start to use your tools to hire world-class people. And I realized I'm not hiring like someone off the streets who doesn't know anything I know. I hired people who are better than me. And if you would have told me that a year and a half ago, my ego would have been like, no, you got to 6 figures because you're an amazing writer and people want you. And now that I've opened up the space for these world-class writers to come and do a better job than me, it gives me so much more delight to really be in my zone of genius, which is more of that visionary and impact driven and thinking about how we can reach more people, like getting me back into that role while others get to, still provide really high quality service.
Yeah, do the work. I'm really glad you brought up the ego piece because sometimes when a woman hears, so, I'm always talking about, I wrote this in the book and talking about it on the podcast and everything, is the way to grow to $1 million is to stop using the methodology that got you to 6 figures, and you need to actually do less, but better. And that means you need to work less to get to 7 figures. And some women, when they think that they won't be involved in creating the results for their clients, they start worrying, who will I be? I'm glad you brought up the ego, the identity, because I teach the mindset first methodology. It's you won't do the thing until you shift your beliefs, your identity, because identity drives behavior. So we have to look at, are you willing to let go of your emotional need to be needed by clients? Is that emotional need more important than you getting to 7 figures with a delicious life, right?
Yeah. This might not be what you expect to hear, but I'll be honest and say that I had to find hobbies. I had to triple our income. I had to figure out ways to get out of the way. Like, I'm a swimmer now. So I go to the gym for, I now find 11 a.m. pockets of time to go to the pool because I can't message anyone. I can't get my hands in anything. I just get to, do something that I enjoy while trusting and allowing others to show up as that leader and really own this like business owner situation or like position. And so it meant completely changing my schedule. Instead of getting up to use my best energy to write for other people, I now get up and think about what does our company need to be articulating? What new podcasts are we going to launch, which we were able to do? These, exponential growth activities now get my best energy. And I have more hobbies because I have realized how much the energy game and me doing less totally empowers the team and is somehow magnetic, right? There's like this magical feminine presence as well that I've really leaned into.
I'm so super stressed out and burnt out people are not attractive to clients.
No. Yeah.
And it's not attractive to money, and it's not attractive to this freaking out energy, stressed outness. Is all about putting out fires and does not get you into that the right brain state to exponentially grow your business. And thank you for sharing that. What is it? So was it putting in place these activators? Was it having access to a community? Was it what was, in addition to shifting your mindset and pulling yourself out of the day-to-day, what specifically in the last year and a half got you to create? I mean, you've tripled in a year and a half, and I hope that we can meet again in a year and a half to see what you've accomplished. What were some of the practical things that supported you on that journey where you might have talked yourself out of it in the past?
Yeah. Having a framework for hiring was the turn in the key for me, because I had heard, get a VA, take things off of your plate. And I just kind of did it without the methodology and the tools that you gave me to really find people with the strengths who are better than me, who are not going to take my time and 6 months of training and hope that they end up to be good at the end. But really sticking to the hiring framework. And then, because as our service-based company grows, hiring is kind of, the lock and the key in the lock to help us keep expanding. And to be able to show up to the community, my pod, my AB, and then our group Q&A calls, to just, I literally think about me being over here, doing the thing, bowling down the alley, I'm throwing the ball, but then to have these bumper lanes and people to reflect back to me, Hanna, you're asking questions that sound like more of a figure it out. Who on your team can help you with this? And continuing to push me to lean into the systems and the structure and the team that I know is going to get me to 7 figures, and avoid that comfort zone trap of I'll just do it. It's just easier for me this time. But to really be document that, put that in the standard operating procedure, and just keep me bowling better and better every single week. The roadmap got me rolling, but the community and the women that I've connected with that just see me as the millionaire queen that I'm becoming and can reflect back, and their feedback and support has been the most transformational, both in how I show up, and then of course that impacts how people start showing up for us, how clients come to us, how team shows up too.
What's it been like to be celebrated, supported, and championed by other women who are on their way to 7 figures, who have a big heart, who are kind and generous, no jerks allowed, right? But to be in a community of, I'll call them exceptional women. You use the adjectives you would like. What's it been like to be immersed in that? How has that made a difference in your confidence, in your resilience, in your courage, or whatever?
Yeah. I'm asking better questions. That's for sure. I would have told you a year and a half ago that I am surrounding myself with those people because I'm reading the books and listening to the podcasts, and I'm, kind of watching from the sidelines and being in the conversation and having people who are where I want to be know me, know where I've been, know my business, and keep pouring into it. I think about a few of the folks that I've connected with and done get to know you coffees or chatted with. They still think of me and say, hey, are you still looking for a VA on this piece? They send us referrals, and it just truly is this place to co-create. And I have never felt competitive. In fact, I was just reading a book this morning because now I get to do that every morning. And it was talking about the comparison trap. And it gave this little hack, if you will. Next time you feel that envy that a woman is moving faster than you or has a bigger business than you, you just think, I'm next or I can do it too. And I was like, oh yeah, that's my default. I hang around Bold Heart people and I see them doing it. I'm like, yeah, I'm next. Like there isn't
I got it.
any icky feeling of competitiveness.
Yeah, I call that the popcorn effect. When you're the little popcorn in the pot, swimming in the hot oil, whatever that sounds like, and you see a woman pop to 1 million, no words need to be exchanged. You're like, oh, she did it? I'm next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just know like, oh, they got, not to just know like in theory, but to see their business model and to know that you're modeling that and to hear them talk about the things that worked and didn't work when they did a launch. Like I just get to pick that up and actually ask questions, which for me, who learns through experience, is a completely different way to take in information or to like conceptualize 7-figure businesses than just a book or a podcast ever. I mean, it probably showed me, but I didn't like see it for me.
I think I've started talking about recently the false confidence that comes from reading a book or listening to a podcast episode and thinking, I know this.
Yeah.
And this idea of if you read about it or you heard about it, however not supportive what I'm about to say sounds, like you don't know it, you've just heard of it. Now get in. Get into the community, get into the program, get into the pot with the oil. And get yourself in the environment that will make you pop. Otherwise, 10 years down the road, you'll be like, oh yeah, I read that book.
You'll have all the shelf esteem and no clarity.
Self-help, right? Yeah. Oh man, I read half that book. Yeah. I know all about how to get to 7.
And I'm going to do it someday, right? So like I even remember reading Traction that was recommended when I first joined. And I was like, okay, that's me in like 5 years. And the coaches here helped me kind of collapse the timeline and say, well, if you have a team of 5 now, like there's only some structures we need to put in place. And I noticed myself doing that a lot, like future version someday when I lose 10 pounds, right? That whole trap. Being in Bold Heart, people constantly help me collapse the timeline and reflect back to me like, well, what if this is the 500,000 year? Well, what if 7 figures comes faster and easier? And that definitely leads me on a path to, like I said, ask better questions and make decisions for where I'm going instead of what I'm afraid of. Yeah.
Hanna, what's possible, as we wrap up, what's possible in the next year and a half? You tripled to 300,000, I think, around.
$250,000.
$250,000.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
$250,000 in a year and a half. Let's say we reconnect like this in a year and a half. What's possible? What do you believe you'll be sharing with me? Because you'll still be in the community, still be in the putting the activators together, all of that. Let's future pace a year and a half.
Yeah, we'll absolutely be seeing consistent 50K months. I already have the system and structure. I know how we can fill to that. And we will have organic, feminine marketing filling our pipeline with the right clients every single month. So I know that it's possible because I'm already doing the sifting and sorting and committing to like the quality and the caliber of, what that classroom of ideal clients is going to look like for us. And this year too. I mean, even in a year and a half, but I know this year I will take more vacation and have more days off than I did when I was so excited that I had 3 months off as an academic advisor in my first real job. But I'll have more than 3 months off this year, and it won't be because I'm on a school schedule.
Amazing. So in a year and a half, you'll double again to about 600,000, and the year after that?
7 figures.
7 figures.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can actually be that elegant. This is the path. Thank you, Hanna, for sharing your inspiring story, understanding that you're in the middle of it, and the best is yet to come. But I know that women are listening to this, and it is normalizing that they can do it too, just by hearing you share it. Thank you so much.
And it can be easy.
It can be easy, right? In the right company. Yeah. Thanks, Hanna.